David Collins.
30 minutes. Show with
David
Collins.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of David Collins' 30-minute half-hour show. I'm your host, David Collins. We have a great show for you today and another great exclusive guest. I'm very excited. This is probably our most famous guest that we've ever had, and we're back at the Lucky Cat in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, which means a lot to me. Again, I'm looking at that sign that says, Aloe means green room. And like I had hinted at, that's our guest today. Of course, actually, today's a pre-tape, so just so everybody knows, not as live as it usually is. This is going to be released a Monday before April 1st. April's coming up. A lot of people listening are already going to know April's one of my favorite months. Two of my favorite holidays coming up, April Fools and Earth Day. So really looking forward to this coming month here. We're also going to be looking at doing some live events coming up. There's a comedy festival also coming up in April, and we're going to be looking to do some live interviews. Keep an eye open for that, hoping some of those interviews might break the internet. Dan, again, is with us on the show today, filling in that co-host seat. How you doing today, Dan?
Doing pretty well. How are you doing, David?
Another great day. You do any comedy this week?
I did, yeah.
Fantastic. Local announcement for Manhattan, Kansas area. I just wanted to mention, we want to give everyone an early heads up that as of March 20th, Hayes Drive will now be closed immediately south of Casement Road through early November. This closure is due to a storm sewer construction and related to levee work. All commercial properties on Hayes Drive will maintain their access from the south via Macau Road. However, neighbors to the north of Casement Road will not be able to access Hayes Drive, but instead will need to go south via Tuttle Creek Boulevard. So if that affects anybody, keep an eye out open for that. Before we get to the show today, everybody's favorite, color of the day. Today's color of the day, scarlet. Today's color of the day, scarlet. I thought a nice simple color for today's color of the day. Today's color of the day, scarlet.
Another great one, David.
Lastly, our sponsor today, B&L Vacuum Center, located at 610 South Juliet Avenue, number A in Manhattan, Kansas. B&L Vacuum Center is a local Manhattan, Kansas vacuum repair shop. To know that this place is where you need to bring your vacuums in case of an emergency, you only need to read the reviews. The man that runs the shop is simply excellent. He's helpful, knowledgeable, and treats his customers extremely well. I'd give it 6 stars if I could. Can't say enough good things about him. So be sure you check him out next time you need a vacuum repair. You think of R&L Vacuum Center. Call them at 785-539-6146 for a quote. Thank you, B&L Vacuum Center, for sponsoring the show today. Very excited to invite our guest onto the show today. I'm glad he was able to make it. Long anticipated, Aloe.
Yo, what's up, man? Can you hear me? Is this close enough? This is good, right? Fist away. You said, a round of applause.
You sound great, Aloe. You sound great, and we're so happy to have you on the show. Make some noise for Aloe, everybody. Aloe is an Eastern Iowa-based stand-up comedian and podcaster. Aloe has appeared on multiple podcasts around the country, most notable being Tony Hinchcliffe's live show, Kill Tony. There, Aloe was one of the first people to ever receive a golden ticket, allowing him to appear on any shows in the future. You may remember Aloe's famous encounter with Donnell Rawlings, which went viral the summer of 2021. What a great year, huh?
Oh, man.
You remember that?
It was a spectacular year. It was one of the best years.
Aloe also hosts his own podcast that can be found on Spotify, Aloe Means Green Room. I guess that explains the sign, huh? I never put those two things together.
Yeah, we record the bass recording is out of here.
Please follow Aloe.
Oh, shit, sorry.
And let him know that you heard him here. Welcome to the show, Aloe.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have anything else that you want to plug? Any social medias or anything? Anywhere else that you can find you besides Spotify?
Aloe on fucking the gram, and I think probably Snapchat and probably TikTok too. I'm on all those, even though I'm too old.
Now, I wanted to ask you, of course, so many people might know that incident and just be loosely familiar, so I thought we'd talk a little about that. How did you get started with Kill Tony?
It's like kind of the reason why I started comedy. It forced me to start comedy. It went on tour.
Really?
Yeah.
I started comedy because I had a great guest one time when I was on radio, and that comedian actually invited me on stage and had him open for him, and that was a great... Did you have something similar to that? Have you met Tony Hinchcliffe prior to Kill Tony?
No, huh? What was that comedian's name?
Mark Norman.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, Manhattan, Kansas. Probably was 10 years ago now. But
that's dope, man.
It was a great story.
He just put out a great special.
Did you meet Tony Hinchcliffe prior to Kill Tony?
No. The thing happened. The show happened.
So you're watching the show, you say, I want to get into stand-up comedy, I'm going to do this show.
I had planned on going out to L.A., but then it came to Omaha and Des Moines.
Wow.
I hopped on that
That's
shit.
great. And I just watched that clip today. You mentioned Des Moines and that clip.
That's where I'm from, and that's where the second show was at when he actually gave me the golden ticket.
Well, that's great to hear, and I want to hear more about that, but that sound means it's time for the first game today.
I didn't hear it sound.
I'm excited for the first game today, too. It's called Stimulating Statistics. Statistics that make you think. So in this game, we're going to give you some old-fashioned... This is one of those games that we love on the radio. I haven't done a classic game like this since we've started this type of show, but I thought it's a kind of game where you want people calling in. But we're going to give you a statistic, and you're going to have to fill in the blank. It's going to be pretty straightforward here, something that anybody listening to the radio could call in and answer. Are you ready to play Stimulating Statistics?
I believe so.
I had an old coworker send me these so we could play. Hopefully he doesn't get in any trouble. I'm on a little bit of a do not talk to list there. It's kind of grinding my gears. I got into it a little bit last, and I'm still thinking about it, but we're trying to stay positive too. Round one of Stimulating Statistics. A third of people under the age of 40 said that this is one of the hardest parts of growing up or being an adult. A third of people under the age of 40. What do you think? Now are you under the age of 40, Aloe?
No, just over.
You're just
By a
over,
few
so this
months.
doesn't apply to you anymore. Maybe you've solved
Damn
this
shame.
problem. But before you were a 40, do you think of anything that maybe a third of people like you this would affect?
No, probably busting nuts with a partner. I mean, we can all do it by ourselves. But...
Oh, it's actually preparing meals every day.
Oh, Jesus,
You know,
God,
if you solve
people.
one of those problems, though, that might be solving the other. Good guess. Let's go ahead and go to round two.
That's a very good point.
Do you get a point?
No, that was a very good point you made.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Dan, I thought that was your job to kind of let me know when I got a good point there.
Well, it is, but Aloe's been doing a great job of it himself. Maybe he'd be a good co-host for
I
you.
agree.
Yeah.
It'd be a little more expensive, but maybe we can talk about it.
That's true. I am
You should
cheap.
send in an audition tape,
I am
Aloe.
cheap.
Yeah, I'll get on that.
What do you think about round two here? Leading up to Valentine's Day, nearly 60% of single adults say that they are not doing this.
You said it was an M?
What is it?
You said it was an M or an N?
Valentine's Day?
Okay, I heard an M the first time. Sorry.
Leading up to Valentine's Day, nearly 60% of adults say they are not doing this. What is it?
Cooking.
They're not cooking. So we're going with a similar answer. Dan, might you have a guess here? Leading up to Valentine's Day, what might you not be doing?
Getting a girlfriend.
I think you were out of time there. The answer was looking for a relationship. So Dan, pretty good at these games. You got to be careful, though. He's been studying radio these days.
And I messed him up with the mic pass. I passed him the mic. I tried to hold it for him, but he wasn't comfortable with that.
Ha ha! Round three.
It's
When
understandable.
polled, 30% of people say they have seen this happen at a Super Bowl party. What is it?
Double dip.
A double dip? You're pretty fast on that one. Do you think that that's the answer? Do you want to confirm that one?
I watch a lot of Seinfeld. Yeah.
Hey, you were right. When polled,
Shit.
30% of people say that they have seen an argument over food or snacks.
Oh, damn it. That's kind of close to what I said.
We got one more round of Stimulating Statistics. Do you like this game?
Thank
Is
God. I
this the
love
type
it.
of game that you would call in if you heard it on the radio, do you think?
This is the type of game I want to steal and put on my podcast, honestly.
You heard that, listeners. And if you want to play along, go ahead and email dc30minutehalfhour@gmail.com. Send in your answers. We love to see it. Round four. This is true for about 33% of American adults. What is it? It's true for 33% of American adults.
Dan, you go first this time. I've been going first.
It's true for 33% of American adults.
This is true for 33% of American adults.
They have kids.
Aloe, would you like to take a guess? Dan's
No,
pretty good at these. You might want to back him up.
It's not kids, I don't think. It's no, actually that would be a good statistic.
You should go the other way too.
They don't have kids?
They have a criminal record.
Oh, nice.
33% of American adults. Do any of you have a criminal record? The odds are one of us will.
They are trying to build a prison.
Now, Aloe, I really appreciate you taking the time to get on the show today. We really love to have you.
Is it over already?
No, I want to.
okay.
I want to talk to you personally. Get into a little more about this.
Hell yeah.
Have you spoken to Donnell since the incident?
Kind of not really. On Instagram, I think. We talked a little. I might have said something somewhere, and he told me, shut the fuck up, bitch ass nigga, I think was the...
That's fascinating.
It could be wrong. That could have been a dream.
Would you like... We have a fan base here. If you want to put that relationship back together, we may be able to help facilitate that?
Oh, it might happen because I'm gonna go. I just told Tony Hinchcliffe that I'm gonna be
Take
back
us a little
down there.
through the aftermath
Okay.
there. Before you reached out to him, you're getting a little far ahead. You're getting a little to a
Shit.
resolution.
Yeah, I was
want
going
to
to
focus
last
on
week.
the conflict here. When you were at that
Yeah.
conflict, tell us a little more about that and the aftermath.
You promise not to
Did this
interrupt
help
me?
or hurt you, do you think?
I mean, help and hurt. I mean, it did more good than harm. I don't think there's really any harm.
No harm?
Maybe to my ego.
Was it embarrassing?
Dan's agreeing with me.
Was it stressful?
Not really. It was, well, kind of sometimes I felt like I had to respond to every message for a while.
Now, this is something I want to ask you. When you left that night, did you fly home the next day?
No,
How many people at the airport recognized you?
14. They were all fucking baristas.
If it was the first time for me, I'd probably be counting too.
That fucking was.
It's weird. The whole incident, he tries to defend you. Now, I don't want to talk about this the whole time. I'm sure have you talked about this publicly at all?
Yeah, I think my first podcast that I used to have. My second podcast.
So a lot of people probably
Second
heard this. So if anybody's interested in that, check out Aloe Means Green Room.
No,
And
it
you
was
can
my
hear his
other one.
full
It
explanation.
was an old podcast. It was,
We had another guest actually interviewed him in this room. A similar thing, constantly changing podcasts. Very interesting.
Who?
Did you think this incident might get you on Joe Rogan at the time?
No,
I always thought, I'm hoping that maybe we could get him as a guest, and then if he has a good enough time on this show, maybe I could get that exposure from
That's
his
how
show.
it goes. That's how it goes.
And that's
man.
what I was wondering. Could you introduce me to Tony Hinchcliffe?
I mean,
I'd love to get him on the show.
I could try.
We could even fly to him. If they're willing to pay for tickets, I'd be there tomorrow. So maybe, just keep that. We can talk about that after the show. I'd really not like to talk business, but I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
He would be a great guest to have, and you could come back too if you could facilitate that. Now, it's 2 years later since that incident. Do you think you might have
Jesus
2 years
Christ.
of comedy experience?
Has it been 2 years?
It'll be 2 years in just a couple of months.
It's like my greatest peak of comedy, you think?
Do you think now that you had 2 years of comedy experience, you might handle things differently, or do you have any regrets about that incident?
I'm proud of myself how I handled it. It was fun.
You seem to be having fun. Even I remember a quote you said, "I'm just having fun."
Yeah, we're just having fun. I expected to lose that altercation, but he got emotional, that's all.
So now you have your own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing your thing there. Tell me about your podcast, Aloe Means Green Room.
It's not organized, and it's not... It's fun. I have fun sometimes. I laugh.
How would you describe it? Because I listened to Ben Fella's podcast leading up. Unfortunately, I hadn't had a chance to catch up with yours at all. But I listened to Ben Fella's, and I told him I described it something like, "Are you familiar with Ben Fella's?" I've heard parts of here. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're in the Aloe Means Green Room at the Lucky Cat, but we're here before an actual comedy show will be taking place very soon, right on the other side of this wall. So there's got a lot of comedians kind of arriving right now. One of them is that Ben Woodfield guest that you're going to remember from a previous episode. Ben's Fellas, I described it something like Fighter and the Kid mixed with Joe Rogan mixed with something different. What would you say about your own?
Green room, pretty much. Just a green room, so whatever comes up goes.
That's great. Well, I have a great time every time I'm in this green room here. So I imagine that I would love that show. Do you have any plans for the future? Any future guests that you're hoping to get on? We're really hoping to get on some great guests in the future. We're putting out lines. We're getting new staff on. And if you're interested in being a part of that project and getting on the team, email us at dc30minutehalfhour@gmail.com. But how about you? Do you have plans for guests or plans?
I like Bill Cosby on.
Really? You may be able to do that. It's almost like when people are annexed.
He's going on tour.
He would come here.
Bill Cosby and Dilbert.
That'd be great. That would really get you some numbers, I'm sure.
Not the guy who writes Dilbert, the actual character Dilbert to be on.
I've heard about that. I've heard about that. Not a lot. There's a little inside here. A little inside. I don't want to confuse my audience, but a Dilbert actually appeared at a comedy show in Dubuque, Iowa. A very funny local incident. We didn't talk about it on the show, but we are going to be maybe doing some interviews at that comedy bar in the next couple of weeks and putting that on our social media. So keep an eye out. Follow those socials at DC 30 Minute Half Hour Show on Instagram and at DC 30 Minute HH on Twitter. Keep an eye out for those. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Future guests, future studio upgrades.
That was it. Oh, nope. I like to put more pictures up. Maybe get a vinyl.
That's exciting. That's also exciting because that sound means it's time for our second game. The second game today, it's a little clever. It's called Don't Judge a Movie by Its Review. In this game, we're going to read a couple one-star reviews. You're going to have to guess the movie. We're going to give you a year of the movie, give you a little bit, but we'll read the one-star review, and you're going to have to guess what movie just by that one-star review. Are you ready to play Don't Judge a Movie by Its Review?
Fuck yeah, bro.
Fantastic. Remember, these are 1-star reviews. Round 1. This movie came out just last year, 22. Any veteran or serviceman will love the heroics and military themes. It's a male-dominated flick, and the cheering crowd scenes are guys who would love the recent Supreme Court decision. For men by men, the plot holds no surprises. Conclusion is telegraphed from start to finish. This is what audience wanted after the pandemic, and this is what we get. Nothing you have to think about.
I don't know. I was hung up on the whole dudes who don't like abortions. It's all chicks who've had abortions and they don't like it anymore.
Whoa, we're getting a little controversial today. Now, this is clearly a movie that involves a lot of men, some military themes, and heroics 2022. Any guesses there?
Oh, shit. 2022. I can't think of any military movies. Oh, was it Top Gun, dude?
I think you were just out of time there. Top Gun Maverick was the answer.
4 seconds? Oh.
Round 2. This movie is from 2019.
1919.
Going a little further back, not too far. The review. I've given it 1 star, just because I at least lasted the course. That says it all, really. More an endurance test than a pleasure. The narrative is so meandering and uninteresting.
Oh,
Having the lead actors portray their actors over a period of several decades with the help of CGI enhancement just didn't work for me. It's an extremely dull and about 2 hours longer than it should have been.
Did Avatar come out in 2019? The second one? Shit.
So it's extremely long. Apparently they've aged the actors in this one. That's interesting. I'm not too familiar, although I am a bit of a film buff. Maybe I know it. Do you know it?
Malcolm X. A sequel.
The Irishman.
XX. Oh, yeah, Pacino and or De Niro and everybody. Was it Pacino and De Niro?
It was all of them. That's correct.
Big dogs.
Famously, a very, very long movie. Exactly.
Hey, was he in that?
I think that was his last movie before Cocaine Bear.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So he wasn't there.
Round 3. Just one more round here. Don't judge a movie by its review. Do you like this game?
Love it.
I like this game. Round 3. This movie's 2009, bringing it back 1 decade. Honestly speaking, Tarantino is one of my favorite directors. His movies like Pulp Fiction and Django Unchained are my favorite movies. But this movie felt a bit of a disappointment for me personally, because I felt that the opening sequence for the first chapter could have been finished in 5 to 6 minutes, but Tarantino purposely made that scene 20 minutes long. The only part of the movie which I liked was Brad Pitt's entry in the second chapter, and that chapter was the shortest too.
Fuck.
So it's a Tarantino movie. Not violent enough for this guy, apparently.
What's the year again?
2009. Tarantino movie, 2009. So maybe you'll just get it by
like
that.
Hollywood, some shit. Or else if it's not that, then it's, I don't know, the game's, I probably ran out of time.
Inglourious Basterds.
God damn it, that was my third guess.
It's not a bad guess. Inglourious Basterds. You know, usually my team puts together a little description of the movie here. Not sure why we weren't able to do that today, but that's fine. We're able to move on without a little description.
What do you think of people who write reviews on movies online and not getting paid for it? What do you think of them, David?
Well, it's interesting. What's interesting, you know, people always say the only person that takes time to write a review is somebody who wants to write a bad review. If you go to any movie reviews, any Google reviews, in fact, all 5-star reviews.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very interesting. You know, I think that's a little factoid about negativity that people like to hang on. And we're all about positivity. And on that note, we have a great email, actually, a little about positivity. I think we'll get to, bad news first, and then we'll get to the good news. How about that? How about that first? Because one listener had brought this to my attention, so I wanted to talk about it briefly. On our very first episode, we here at the David Collins 30-minute half-hour show shouted out a local Eastern Iowa comedian, Colin Maddox. We talked a little about his podcast on that show. I was recently informed that he was actually moved out of Iowa and is now located in Portland or Oregon. So good luck to Colin Maddox. We wanted to wish Colin the best of luck on his new adventures.
Is it pronounced Maddox?
I think it's pronounced Maddox.
Oh, okay.
We went over this before, right? Dan can confirm it's pronounced Maddox. If listeners are out there in Portland, be sure to catch one of Colin Maddox's stand-up shows. And if you wanted to hear more from him, check out his podcast, Murder Casserole. I know I've been listening.
It's great. It's a good one.
It is. And now we no longer have any true crime comedy podcast in Eastern Iowa. He took it away. There was one also email, and this was the heartwarming one that I wanted to mention. This one's coming in from Ogden, Kansas. A lot of listeners down there in Ogden. She writes, Dear David Collins, please extend my gratitude to your temporary co-host, Dan. His list of things that made him happy this week really warmed my heart. It can be easy to find the negativity in things, but who does that help? We also recently had a death in the family too, and for them to pass surrounded by loved ones made me happy also. God bless you all. Sincerely, Rachel Melendez.
Thank you, Rachel. That was very nice of you.
Thank you, Rachel. That was nice, and that's why I wanted to bring it to the show here. And anybody else who has an email they want to send in or a voicemail they want to be heard on the show, email those to dc30minutehalfhour@gmail.com. And now it's time, my favorite segment, World News with David Collins. As it is a pre-tape today, I didn't want to talk too much about pressing news, but some stories to cover. We have an update on the current construction and replacement of runways for the Manhattan, Kansas Regional Airport. Also, you think fentanyl is scary? Buckle your seatbelts. Finally, Dan will give us an update on March Madness and some other sports news. I think we're going to pass it over to Dan. You had a heartwarming story that you wanted to share.
Yeah, David. So I ran across this earlier this week, actually. A 90-year-old tortoise named Mr. Pickles finally became a father. That's right, the Houston Zoo announced recently that 90-year-old radiated tortoise Mr. Pickles and his partner, 53-year-old Mrs. Pickles, talk about a cradle robber, welcome 3 tortoise hatchlings to the world. And their names are Dill, Gherkin, and Jalapeno. And officials from the Houston Zoo are calling this quite the big deal, David, as radiated tortoises, originally from Madagascar.
Wait. Do you know what you just said?
What?
It's very funny. You'll listen to it later. Go on.
I'll get it later. All right. So radiated tortoises, originally from Madagascar, are critically endangered. And with the name radiated tortoise, David, I figured they would have been named to Chernobyl.
We don't want to get political. I tried to avoid Russian stories.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, David. Did you want me to get to the sports news now, or are you going to take it back?
Phase 1 of the 4-phase project to replace Manhattan's regional airport has completed. Phase 2 starts next week with a brief closure. The airport will be closed from the evening of March 28th through the morning of March 30th. A 3-month closure is planned beginning May 12th, and they're saying travel for Kansas State football's home opener will not be affected, though. Fortunately. So everybody keep that in mind. Little local news. Most of my listeners are still in that market area, so that's really where we kind of theme the news. Luckily, we have a little Iowa news coming up, I think. Speaking about those sports, Dan, you had some exciting news for me this week.
That's right. You were talking about our Wildcats. Our boys in blue came out on top yet again in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. The Kansas State Wildcats have moved into the Sweet 16 with their 75-69 victory over the other Wildcats of Kentucky. Another riveting story, out of the women's tournament, the number 2 seeded Iowa Hawkeyes, led by Caitlin Clark, are also off to the Sweet 16 after defeating the number 10 seeded Georgia Bulldogs 74-66. Now, how about that, David?
Aloe, I wanted to get some of your feedback on this next story we had in the world. Federal authorities have been raising the alarm about a new drug sweeping the nation. Have you heard of this? They call it Trank, or Trank Dope.
Oh, no.
Have you heard of this?
No, that's new to me.
It's giving people extremely graphic wounds all over their body, huge ulcers. This drug is a mixture of fentanyl and a drug called xylazine. The DEA is saying approximately 23% of fentanyl powder and 7% of fentanyl pills seized contain xylazine. It's really affecting the Northeast. Now, I'm sure many of you are going to be hearing something going on in the background here. That means the comedy show is starting. Luckily, we're getting to the end of the show here, and we only have one other segment left after this. But I did want to kind of get your take on this Trank situation. Have you heard about this?
Maybe it helps that girl shoot real good. Either that or her forehead. All right, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm a fan.
That sound means it's time for our last game anyway. We didn't even need to make it all the way because we made it right where we needed to be. Game 3 today is called Hit or Kiss. You're going to have to decide whether the song I'm going to give you is a hit song over however many years, or if it's a song by the band Kiss.
Okay.
We're going to give you a couple lyrics, make it a little easier. But we're going to see, are you ready to play Hit or Kiss?
Is this implying that Kiss didn't have any hits? Because it could be both, right?
A couple of these games could have been both. We've avoided that, though. We're going to make it a fair either or. No trick questions on the David Collins 30-minute half-hour show. We strive to be as honest and integral as we can.
Appreciate it.
Round 1. Smooth. Here's some lyrics for the song Smooth. And if you said this life ain't good enough, I would give my world to lift you up. Smooth.
That is a hit, sir.
It is. Are you a fan of Van Kiss?
Fan. I fuck with him.
Great. Well, maybe you'll get these next ones too. You're playing these games very well. I think we had a little downfall on the reviews, but beyond that, you're doing just as well as any other competitor that we had, or any other guest that we have, I should say. You're not just here to compete. You're here to expose yourself to a great Manhattan, and now Iowa, and now national and international. You should have heard a couple of weeks ago, we had an international call-in from Jamaica.
It's 50-50, honestly.
Round 2. Eat your heart out. Here's some lyrics. Eat your heart out, baby. Oh, won't you get me something sweet? Eat your heart out, baby. A hot mess is just what I need.
If that's not Kiss, I don't know what is.
Right again. Did you know it was Kiss because it didn't rhyme? That's what struck me about these lyrics. That was Eat Your Heart Out by Kiss, 2012, actually. It's from the album Monster. Round 3. Good Girl Gone Bad. Here are a few lyrics. Face of a woman, hands of a child, yeah. Been a long time coming. Now she's going wild. Hit or kiss?
That made me uncomfortable. Let's call it a kiss.
That's a great job. I thought it might get you by putting 2 in a row, but you saw right through me there. Do you like this game, hit or kiss?
It's probably my favorite so far.
On a 1 to 3 of all the games, where do you think hit or kiss kind of lands?
2.79.
Not a bad answer.
Pretty good.
Unfortunately, there aren't 13 games. Somebody fact check me on that one. Round 4. Shape of You.
Oh fuck! I know that's a hit, dude. You ain't got it.
I wouldn't want to hear these lyrics either.
I kind of do though. Can you sing them? Do you know the melody?
I don't.
Shit.
Written and performed by Ed Sheeran. If anybody knows that melody, please email me to dc30minutehalfhour@gmail.com.
Hum that shit.
Very curious. Released in 2017, Shape of You was one of the double lead singles from his 3rd studio album, along with Castle on the Hill.
You know what's funny is I didn't think it was Ed Sheeran, but I just knew it was a hit, but I didn't know who. I knew it wasn't Kiss.
That's wonderful. I'm glad
That's
you could
weird.
play. Did you like that game?
Yeah, it's my favorite. I won, right?
Did you have fun on the show today?
Loved it. Do I win anything or?
No, unfortunately not.
That's
But
cool.
maybe we'll come back. We'll have another competition.
I'm gonna
And
get
if
that
you're a listener to the show,
David Collins bump for sure. And that's what
of
I'm looking
course, you'll
forward
get that
to.
David Collins bump, and maybe I could get you to give me some of these guests that you're close with there. You know, I'm excited. Next time you go, do you ever go down to Austin?
That's what I was trying to say. I'm going to go down there in June for the 10-year anniversary. I plan on going down there.
We'll have to talk more. If not, I'll just give you a couple David Collins shirts to make sure that
Fuck
you're wearing
yeah.
there.
You gotta get
some
them big.
magnets to hand
If they're
out.
too tight, I'm
so we
not
can
going to wear
spread
them.
the word that way.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited.
Ooh, magnets.
Everybody remember, follow us on our socials. Email me dc30minutehalfhour@gmail.com. We're going to have a lot of things coming up in the future. I'm very excited. That's why we're doing that pre-tape, because we have excited things planned for the next couple of weeks. Any final words, Dan?
Well, David, no, actually, I don't have any final words. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thanks again for being on the show. Aloe, thank you one last time.
Hell yeah, man.
Everybody
Thanks.
listening.
I appreciate it.
I've been David Collins, and you've been the best.
David Collins. 30 minutes. Show with David Collins.